Ukulele Saz, founder of the Scotland Ukulele Project, flight ukulele artist and full-time ukulele teacher based in Glasgow, Scotland. This is the video on what to practice. I'm going to show you a series of things that you can put into your practice routine and do to help you improve as a ukulele player, and I'll show you some examples of how to get started and get you going as well. So spend a couple of minutes just now thinking about the different things that you do and write them down. All of the different types of things that you practice. Have you written down more than 2, 3 things? Let's have a look at some of these examples and I'll show you how to get started. We'll look at some different things that you can practice and how you can apply them to your own practicing as well. Let's see how many of the list below you already do and which ones that you will start adding to your practice routine. The first one is warm-ups. Warm-ups warm up our bodies. We do it when we exercise. We should do it when we are playing the ukulele as well. You might be playing a song with some new chords. There might be a bar chord in there. So your warm-up might be switching from G to A flat. And you might be building a little bit of muscle memory, getting those myelin layers built and developed, automating that circuit. You might do that back and forth. You might be doing a song with a particular riff, so you might be having a wee warm up by doing some slides, because there might be some slides in the riff. You might do a scale. Your song might be in the key of C major. So you might practice that a few times to get you started as well. When we do a warm up, we are giving our brain and our muscles time to prepare for the session ahead. If we jump straight into the deep end, we'll end up a little bit overwhelmed and our bodies and mind just aren't quite prepared for the practice ahead, meaning it might not be as effective as what we would maybe like for it to be. The second thing that we do is scales. Scales get a really bad rep. People don't like them, some people don't believe in them, they don't think it's a practical thing to do, they don't get why they're doing it, it just seems like a chore. But understanding scales can really help us to understand how a piece of music is played. You could learn a scale in the context of a song. I highly recommend learning lots of theory in the context of a song. You might be learning a song in the key of D major. Learning the scale will help us to know which notes are in the key of D, what the notes are, where the notes are, on the fretboard. And then when we're maybe playing a riff in that song or trying to figure out a melody, we can use that scale to help us try and get there. Only learn one scale at a time, do not try and learn them all at once. And maybe if you're learning a major scale, you might want to learn a different major scale the next time so that you know roughly what the scale is. You've just then learned how to apply it in a different key. Once you're comfortable with that scale, move on to the next one. And so on, and so on, and so on. The next one is ear training. This is something that we already do subconsciously. When we listen to a song, we can feel and hear the beat. We just know when to change chords. A lot of people read their music and they'll read it by the lyrics and they can just feel and know when to change chords, and that's great, that's a great start, something we do automatically. But really training our ears and paying attention to what our ears are listening to is huge. Again, let's start nice and simple. We might start by understanding which chords sound major and minor. So for example, we've got G major right here. Major chords are bright and happy sounding. And then we've got minor. We can hear a huge difference. It sounds a lot sadder and a little bit darker. So we might spend a little bit of time listening to what different major and minor chords sound like, and spending a little bit of time on them. Once we've got quite comfortable with that, we might move on to 7th chords or jazzy bluesy sounding chords. Either way, dedicating a little bit of time to our ears and what our ears are listening to can really help us improve overall as players, especially for those of you who have aspirations of being able to listen to a song and be able to figure out how to play it. Ear training will be a massive help for that. Okay, the next one is technique. We get lots of different techniques in songs. We get slides, we've got bends, we've got got hammer-ons, we've got pull-offs, and lots of other techniques. A lot of the time we find these techniques quite tricky to play, especially if we're trying to play a riff, and it might sound quite, we might hit the wrong bit because we're not spending time on that technique on its own. Take the riff, very well known riff, Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. There's a nice little bend note in there, and we might play the whole riff well, but never quite get that bend. Because we're not isolating the bend and taking the time to work on that skill on its own, focusing the attention on it, we're never really going to improve on it. So with techniques, take that bend. I'm using this finger, so I might want to try and do it up and down the fretboard in different places. Get a feel for it. I might try it with my pointer finger. Either way, taking time to work on that technique separately and then popping it right back into the song makes it sound much better. So isolating things, paying attention to the details, working on the technique on its own will make a huge difference, and a lot less daunting for you to learn those things that you find quite tricky because you've spent time looking at that thing on it's own. Other examples of these could be chord changes. You might be working on bar chords and find bar chords really tricky, the whole technique. So work on the bar chord. So all of these techniques, when you isolate them and work on them separately, will make a huge difference to your ukulele playing, and you will notice a huge improvement over some time. I hope some of these things have helped you. We're going to end the video here, and in the next video I'm going to explain some more things in which you can do to include in your practice routine to help you improve as a ukulele player.